Počuli ste už o pláne rodovej podpory? Ide o zázračný dotazník z dielne progresívnych mimovládok, po ktorého vyplnení sa dieťaťu instantne zmení jeho rodová identita a z 9-ročného Michala je zrazu Michaela. Uletený nezmysel? Práve naopak. Bežná prax v amerických štátnych školách.
APS staff are expected to use names and pronouns of students in accordance with their gender identity they assert at school. So at the very moment Michelle comes to you and says, "My name is Michael, I use he, him pronouns," you are required to use that name and those pronouns. Students can use the sex-segregated facility that corresponds with their gender identity they assert at school. So how they identify at school determines which restroom they choose to use.
Takže žiak vyplní tento formulár a
any lists that get published, any cards, identity cards, library cards, lunch line information, anything about the student will be using their name that they like to use.
Ale veď potom nesedia štátne úradné záznamy dieťaťa s tými školskými.
Who would you rather apologize to? A bureaucrat who is counting numbers, or a student who's having the lived experience of their privacy being compromised? And for us, it's an easy choice.
Áno, počujete správne. Štátnymi grantmi dotovaná mimovládka vo svojom inštruktážnom videu k plánu rodovej podpory vyzýva štátne školy, aby protizákonne upravovali úradné záznamy na želanie detí. Želanie, o ktorom rodičia ani nemusia vedieť.
If the student is having a name used at school that is not consistent with the parents' understanding based on when they were born, then it becomes challenging for the school.
Before you call home, find out how the student is addressed at home. Sadly, we have students that are not able to be out at home. They're not safe to be out at home.
So when I call that student by their first name, it's the name that they want. But if I have to call home, I have to use she, her pronouns and use that student's assigned name.
So the gender support plan does not need parent input, just director, admin, and student?
Yes, there's two types. So if we don't have family input, it's called a conversation.
A to, ako má vyzerať táto konverzácia, o ktorej rodičia nesmú nič vedieť, vysvetľujú učiteľom priamo mimovládky.
The truth is that we know that kids are coming out at younger and younger ages, as early as 2-3 years of age. The more work we can do at the elementary level, breaking down the gender binary, getting rid of girls and boys and colors that match girls and boys and all of that stuff, you'll make my life as a middle level educator a lot easier.
Like for kindergarten for Pride Month, we got in first grade, like every kid had like a mirror, and we talked about like there's like a read aloud about a boy that said he wanted to be a mermaid, and it's like a way to start like an aggressive was like you should be whoever you feel like you should be. As kids get older and the idea of like gender becomes more salient, which happens more towards like fourth grade, it's conversations around like it's just okay. Conversations deepen as kids get older.
You could read, Johnny has two mommies if you want to. You could read jazz story, or have, your drag queens come in and read the jazz story if you want to.
We do a Pride Week every year, and I had like our LGBTQ plus health center come in. They were passing around butt plugs and dildos to my students, talking about queer sex, using lube versus using spit.
Who is this?
This is an LGBTQ plus health center came in to talk to my high school students.
How old were the kids with the classroom?
14, 18.
Takto. Som presvedčený, že sexuálna orientácia je každého osobná vec. Rovnako ma nie je nič do toho, ak sa plnoletý človek rozhodne podstúpiť zmenu svojho pohlavia za jeho súkromné peniaze. Ale ako politik som zásadne proti tomu, aby mimovládne organizácie poza chrbát rodičov zneužívali školy na pretlačanie ich progresívnej agendy. A nielen preto, že je táto ideológia tak v Amerike, ako aj u nás, totálne prepojená s konkrétnou politickou stranou.
Teaching them how to think. That's it. Doesn't matter what they think about it. If they think about it in a logical, progressive way, that becomes their identity.
So you kind of like gear them to think in a more liberal way.
I believe hopefully the more progressive teachers are actually more savvy about delivering like a democratic message without really ever mention of politics.
So it's like you present everything in a way that's like subconsciously influencing the kids to vote liberal in a way, but it's not doing it in such an explicit way to where the parents can actually get mad at you for it.
Ale hlavne kvôli tomu, že najnovšie už 105 genderov, respektíve rodov, je rovnaká somarina ako znamenia zverokruhu. No kým pri astrológii hrozí nanajvýš tak zlý horoskop, pri rodovej identite sú progresívni fanatici pripravení zablokovať prirodzený vývoj dieťaťa. Cieľ je jasný. Dostať dieťa na hormonálne blokátory pred pubertou, lebo takmer 100% týchto detí začne v 16 s hormonálnou terapiou. No a ak to financie dovolia, väčšina z nich završí svoju tranzíciu chirurgickou zmenou pohlavia. Čo na tom, že viac ako polovica týchto detí zvažuje samovraždu a doživotne trpí zdravotnými problémami? Tu ide o 200 miliardový farmabiznis, v ktorom sa zarába 150 000 na jednom dieťati. Tu nie je čas riešiť zdravie.
How critical is it, do you think, to get them when they're young?
Critical. Because puberty is where we will see these kids really spin out. Because all of that dysphoria begins to arise.
So if somebody's really ambivalent about their identity and where they are and kind of growing up, there's a lot of opportunity for kids that have to go on hormone blockers, which would sort of pauses their development so that they have time to then maybe have a few extra years to kind of think about where they want to go.
Viete, zvykol som byť liberál. Ešte v dobe, keď bolo pokrokové neriešiť orientáciu, farbu pokožky či manželstvo. A zvykol som sa smiať, keď som čítal o tom, ako si progresívci idú po naše deti. Ale dnes sa už nesmejem.